Welcome back to News Dose, everybody. Hope everyone enjoyed their weekends and the Christmas holidays. I hope everyone enjoyed the prezzies that they got. But as per usual, we've got a lot of news to cover. Out of nowhere over the weekend, a new flash cart appeared randomly for the Nintendo Switch. Now we will discuss the ramifications that this might have, as well as what Nintendo might be doing going forward. Alongside that, we had rumors of a potential God of War Trilogy, either a remaster or a remake happening, alongside speculation as to whether Sony could be purchasing EA. Let's get this episode started. First up, is a Mandalorian game being made by Xbox? This rumor was started by Xtasis on Twitter. However, he has since come out and said that he doesn't fully trust this rumor and that he has no confirmation on it, and that it is possible speculation within the community. Now, it has fanned the flames considering that EA has its Star Wars license expired this year, which allowed Ubisoft to make a Star Wars Outlaws game. So I'm going to put on the screen my evidence of why I think it's not happening, and that is the leaked Bethesda documents that happened a few months ago. The image I'm about to put up now shows the roadmap for the Bethesda titles, and if we were to do some logical thinking and following some logical patterns, we can arrive at a conclusion that indicates there is no Mandalorian game. A lot of people assume two things. One is that licensed IP game at the very bottom in the year 24 could be Star Wars. And two, one of these projects, codenamed Project Kestrel, Project Platinum, and Project Hibiki, could be the Mandalorian game. Now, I believe the licensed IP game in the year 24, ending fiscal year 24, is the announced Blade game. I believe that Project Kestrel is an MMO because Elder Scrolls Online has an expansion every single year, and fiscal year 24 does detail a Project Kestrel expansion. The word expansion is only given to their multiplayer MMO games, whereas the word DLC is given to their single player games like Starfield or Doom Eternal. So the word expansion indicates it's an MMO. That leaves Project Platinum. Now, I believe that if it was a licensed game, it would say licensed IP game like it says at the bottom. But the fact that it says Project Platinum indicates that it's an in-house, unlicensed, maybe a sequel, maybe a new IP game. So according to this roadmap, there is no Mandalorian game in the works. However, they have stated that this roadmap is old and things do change, so you never know. But take everything with a pinch of salt. Speaking of rumors, we've got another rumor, this one coming from the Xbox Era podcast. More specifically, it's coming from Nick Baker himself. He has gotten a lot of things wrong and he has gotten a lot of things right, so do take this with a grain of salt. But he has heard that the original God of War trilogy could be getting remastered for the PS5. He's unsure whether this is a remaster or a remake, and he's also unsure when the game comes out. Now, if it is a remaster, I am fine with a 4K 60 FPS upgrade, assuming it doesn't take a lot of resources to make. Now, if it doesn't take a lot of resources to make, I think this is huge for fans of God of War series, especially people who weren't able to experience the original games, because this will offer up that opportunity to go through the journey of how Kratos came to be. Now, I think that if it doesn't have high resource requirements as well as budgets, I think you should bring this to PS5 as well as the PC. Capitalize on that PC market day and date. Not only that, but also bring your other beloved IPs like the Resistance games, make a collection of that game, or your Killzone games, make a collection of that game, your Little Big Planets, your Icos, your Infamouses. There is a market there, and going off of the leaks from the Insomniac hack, they are looking for ways to be able to make money. They have toyed around with a lot of different ideas, from breaking Spider-Man 3 into 3 different parts, breaking Spider-Man's multiplayer out of the game and charging you separately for that, quite possibly even increasing game prices. But I do think this is a good source, a revenue source for PlayStation, because if they do have a void in their roadmap where they are releasing one game a year or 2 games a year. This could fill that void where you could remaster God of War, release it, remaster Resistance, release it, remaster Infamous and release that. It will fill a void. It will create a revenue source. And like I said, people do buy remasters and people do buy remakes. I don't think PlayStation should remake more recent games like Last of Us Part 2. I think they should bring their PS3 back compact games to the PS5 locally to be able to download. Not everyone has a good, reliable, fast internet speed to be able to stream these games, so it will offer opportunities for newer players and it will offer revenue sources for PlayStation, and I think it's a win-win. Speaking of more rumors, there is a user on Icon Era who is speculating that Sony might be purchasing EA. Now, I don't believe this to be the case because his arguments used are very weak, so I'm not going to put them on the screen, but my opinions on this is that big acquisitions like this cannot be done by Sony. They do not have the cash reserves to be able to buy up big companies. We've heard many rumors about how Sony will go out and buy Square Enix. That hasn't happened. They'll go out and buy Capcom. That hasn't happened. In fact, Capcom came out and said that they're not looking to be acquired. We've heard that Sony might buy CD Projekt Red. Again, CD Projekt Red came out and said they're not looking to be acquired. They want to remain independent. We've heard rumors about Sony buying Take-Two. Again, nothing has happened. The problem here is that Sony doesn't have enough cash on hand to be able to buy these companies. When you buy these publicly traded companies, you have to buy the entirety of the stocks, and the entirety of the stocks added up creates their market value, their market cap. Now, if you go online, you can find out easily that EA is worth about 34 billion, and usually it's about 40 to 60% premium that you pay to buy these companies. So let's meet in the middle and say 50% extra on top of the 34 billion would equate to about 51 billion value for PlayStation to be able to buy EA. According to companiesmarketcap.com, Sony has a value of $14 billion cash on hand. This is as of September, and that is way off the mark. Because Sony isn't a huge company, they have to be more tactical with their purchases, which is one of the reasons why they went out and bought Bungie, because they saw the value of Bungie. It was much cheaper, and they can offer that live service, that games as a service experience and knowledge to PlayStation than having to go out and buy EA, which will also offer the same knowledge and experience, but does come with way more IPs. But again, they cannot afford these big companies. Let's move on to our big news of the episode. If you haven't heard or seen, over the weekend a new video emerged on Twitter showcasing a flash card type device being inserted into a Switch console and repeatedly being taken out and reinserted and taken out and reinserted. And every time this was done, the game on the screen would be cycled through. This is very reminiscent to the R4 flash cards that we used to have back during the DS era. Now, it's being claimed that this works on all firmwares of all alongside all console types and in all regions. If this is to be true, this is huge because it would mean that we wouldn't have to hard mod our consoles to be able to emulate. Let's go ahead and look at what the tweet had to say. We have obtained from one of our followers an exclusive video from an upcoming product this person is a beta tester for. Apparently a flashcard type device is coming pretty soon for the Nintendo Switch, which supports all firmwares, all console types from all regions. Although it was long overdue, we were a bit skeptical, so we asked for some kind of proof. To our surprise, this person sent us soon after a video demonstrating the product in use, and it seems perfectly legit. Anyway, we were told the product is ready. They are apparently shipping the first units in January 2024. This does raise a lot of concerns, one of which are hacks and cheats in multiplayer Nintendo games. As you know, it will open up the floodgates for people to be able to hack these games, and if there's a multiplayer component to these games, like let's say Apex Legends, it's more likely that cheaters will flock to the Switch to be able to cheat on these games, especially if it's readily accessible. The other concern pertains to Nintendo themselves. They are very aggressive and very unforgiving when it comes to piracy and copyright, and this could potentially eat into their software sales, but not only their software sales, but the Switch 2 software sales coming up as well. We know that the Switch could be releasing in 2024. There are rumors that it could be summer, and there are also rumors and speculations that it could be backwards compatible. And if it is, I wonder if this flashcard could work on the Switch 2, and if it can, I wonder if it could also emulate Switch 2 games. Obviously, from a consumer standpoint, this is great because we'll be able to access all these games for free, but at the end of the day, what I want this to be used for is for emulation on the PC. I want it to allow modders to be able to make a great emulator for the Switch on the PC, not only to get games for free, but also to preserve games. In a world where everything is becoming more digital, more and more games are becoming harder to come by. So I want it to be there for game preservation. I want it to preserve these older games. I want it to help players be able to access these games they normally wouldn't be able to because they don't have a Super Nintendo or they don't have a DS, for example. But assuming it's all true, it is coming out in 2024 according to them. That is just 1 month away, and we will see the consequences of this, as well as how it might shake up the Nintendo hardware and software side very soon. That is all we have for gaming news today. What do you think about Sony acquiring EA? Do you think it's true? Can they acquire EA? But what's your opinions on the Switch flashcard device as well? Leave your comments down below. I will read everything. As per usual, if you want to stay informed on my future uploads, hit that bell button and subscribe.